Career, 28 years old when he broke into the league with the Dodgers, and Branch Rickey, Branch Rickey was a trailblazer, and that should be noted. It's interesting. He retired before other teams, including the Yankees and Red Sox, had integrated. The Red Sox didn't integrate until 1959, Pumpsie Green, and he broke into the league, as you just said, 1947. Pretty unbelievable.
Amazing.
All right, let's welcome in our powerhouse panel. Joining Allison and me on this Friday morning, Project 21 National Advisory Board member and radio host Christopher Arps, and best-selling author and political analyst Mark Halpern. Pretty unbelievable. It's 75 years since Jackie Robinson first broke the color barrier. Chris, to you, I know you're a baseball fan, a Cardinals fan. Mark, to you, I know you're a sometimes Red Sox fan. Chris, go ahead.
Well, big significant event. I can remember when I was like about 6 years old, the day that Jackie Robinson died in 71 or 72. And I was young, but I didn't really understand the significance of him. But I just remember how sad my father and my relatives were about that. And of course, I later learned his significance. I can tell you the movie that came out on his life a few years ago.
Agreed.
There's not a lot of times that I go to movies and cry at the movies, but that movie was so powerful. Just what he went through affected me emotionally very deeply.
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. And the actor that played Jackie Robinson in that movie just passed away.
Yes.
A great actor, and his career was on the rise as well. Mark, to you.
I credit that movie too. Great talent, but just such bravery. And sometimes history glorifies folks beyond the reality. Not in this case, Jackie Robinson, one of the true heroes in American history for what he did, and I think the implications of what he did reverberate to this day in a positive way.
Yeah, and a complex.
And Rob?
Yep, go ahead, Chris.
One thing else that's significant, there were a lot of better players in the Negro Leagues than Jackie Robinson, but he was chosen specifically because he had the temperament to be able to put up with all of the crap that he would have to put up with.
And that's putting it lightly.
Don't really realize that.
Yeah, and that's putting it lightly, Chris. What he had to endure day in and day out, along with his wife, and he started a family as well at that time. You think about some of the legends of the game. I mean, Satchel Paige. Imagine if he were in the major leagues in the 30s, or late 30s when he should have been. But you look at some of the names that teams passed on. The Red Sox passed on Jackie Robinson. The Red Sox passed on Willie Mays. I grew up a Red Sox fan, and you hear about this, and you're like, my goodness, maybe there's no curse of the Bambino if Tom Yawkey and Red Sox management did the right thing back when they had a chance. Instead, we've got an 86-year curse that took till, what was that year, Mark, when they broke that curse?
I don't know. Ask Bill Buckner.
Yeah, no, not 86.
Against the Cardinals.
04. It was against the Cardinals. Did they sweep them? I think they might have swept them, too. I was at game.
Let's move on, Rob.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Chris. Let's. I thought this was fascinating yesterday. Joe Biden is about to board Air Force One, and a reporter asked him, we saw British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in Ukraine mocking the Russians, walking through the streets of Kyiv last weekend with President Zelensky. Would you go to Ukraine? And President Joe Biden indicated that, yes, he would. Take a listen.
Will you send officials to Ukraine? Will you send senior officials to Ukraine?
We're making that decision now. Thank you.
Who would you send?
What was the reason?
Are you ready to go? Yeah.
Allison, what do you make of that? Is that just another one of these Biden flubs, or did the president think he's going to Ukraine?
No, I really think it was just one of his mistakes or gaffes. I know Jen Psaki, circled back and said, well, no, we don't have any plans right now. I mean, I did see, and I apologize, I don't know where he was speaking. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yep.
He was speaking, and then he was done with his speech, and he walked over to shake somebody's hand, but nobody was there, and he kind of looked confused, and then he finally walked off the stage. That's more concerning to me than him saying
all right,
that.
we have that sound of Joe Biden. He was in North Carolina speaking at one of the largest prominent black colleges in America, actually, and he got done with his speech. And control room, if you could grab that. We don't have to play it right this second, but it was fascinating to see this because he looked like he was completely lost. But I'm noticing a theme when it comes to Joe Biden and his siblings and just sort of being confused in that setting. Take a look at Joe Biden, then we're going to take a look at Joe Biden's sister. But this is Joe Biden in North Carolina yesterday.
God bless you all.
So
All right.
just from his team, right? I remember when he sometimes has people behind him, and we're like, who is that person? Remember a couple weeks ago? From a team standpoint, he should have somebody right there guiding him where to go, because this just didn't look good.
It was just strange. And then we've only got about a minute left, but this is his sister Valerie Biden, 75 years old. Yesterday, she was on CNN Plus with Chris Wallace talking about how, well, nothing has come of the Hunter Biden situation, so why are we even looking at it? Take a look at this exchange. Your take on that? By the way, CNN Plus, complete disaster. They invested $300 billion in CNN Plus. Chris Wallace left Fox News. He was making $10 million a year. That's what we're hearing from Axios. CNN Plus has 10,000 subscribers. 10,000. They've invested $300 million. That's pretty amazing. Mark, go ahead.
I found that clip very painful to watch, and I can tell you that there's deep concern in the Biden family about both Hunter's current state of mind, as well as what's happening with the U.S. Attorney investigation. So this has gotten, some attention. It's been covered to some extent as a press story because of the unprecedented cover-up by social media and the dominant media at the end of the last election. But I think right now, for the Biden family, at least part of this is a very personal level of concern.
Well, we're seeing that now, and we'll see if Hunter Biden is charged. Panel, we'll do this again top of the hour. Looking forward to that.
All right, now to Ukraine, where Russia is threatening to build up its military in the West if Finland and Sweden join NATO. This as the Moscow warship sinks after Ukraine claims it was hit by its missile in the Black Sea. For more, let's welcome in Newsmax correspondent Sarah Williamson, joining us live from Lviv with the very latest. Good morning, Sarah.
Well, good morning, Alison. There are serious concerns of a nuclear escalation after Russia released a threatening statement today saying that there will be no more talk of any nuclear-free status for the Baltics and that the balance must be restored. Now, this statement was released by the Russian Security Council Deputy Chairman Dmitry Medvedev, who also warned that Russia will more than double its forces in the country's western flank should Sweden and NATO Sweden and Finland join NATO, rather. Now, Sweden and Finland are reviewing their security arrangements following Putin's invasion of Ukraine, with both prime ministers of those countries holding a joint press conference on Wednesday, saying that they are ready to join NATO within weeks. Now, because of this, Russia is now threatening to beef up its ground and air defenses, as well as deploy significant naval forces to the Gulf of Finland. And on the topic of Russia's naval forces, Alison, Russia's warship Moscow has actually now sunk in the Black Sea. Now, this ship suffered significant damage yesterday after an explosion occurred on the ship, and there are conflicting reports on what actually caused this. The Russian Defense Ministry says that it was due to an unexplained explosion of ammunition on board that caused a fire, but the Ukrainian Defense Force says that it was struck by its Neptune anti-ship cruise missiles. Now, either way, this is seen as a victory for the Ukrainians and is very symbolic because this happens to be the same Russian warship that told the defenders of the Snake Island to surrender and were then met with that very famous response. Alison.
All right, Sarah Williamson, thank you so much. Well, up next,
Here on Wake Up America, former White House Office of Management and Budget Director under President Trump, Russ Voigt's going to be with us to talk about the 8.5% inflation affecting all of us every single day. We'll also be joined by Kentucky Congressman James Comer, joining us just back from his visit to the southern border in Arizona. He's got the very latest on Title 42 being rolled back on May the 23rd. All right, let's welcome in our powerhouse panel on this Friday morning. Joining Allison and me is Project 21 National Advisory Board member and radio host Christopher Arps and best-selling author and political analyst Mark Halperin. Good morning to you both. This is now becoming a Friday thing. This is our Friday date.
It is the Friday crew.
Good morning. Yeah, I think this is, Mark, 3 or 4 consecutive Fridays that we've been graced with, Mark, your presence, and Chris and Mark together.
Not since Friends went off NBC on Thursday nights has there been such appointment television in the universe.
Wow.
Agree, and that is reflected in the ratings here at Newsmax.
And Chris always does a great job promoting it. He puts it on LinkedIn, he puts it on Twitter, Facebook.
Chris, you put it everywhere, but I notice it is on LinkedIn, and I'm always like, why is he putting it on LinkedIn?
Because there's a lot of people on LinkedIn.
You got to put it everywhere.
He does.
I guess so. I don't do much on LinkedIn.
I just wish Mark Halperin would accept my Facebook friend request. And my life would be
when somebody
complete.
says that on network television, that is real, Mark.
Yeah.
Are you even on Facebook, Mark?
I think you are.
Oh.
I'm not really on Facebook.
Well, Mark
I don't
Duggan,
understand it.
He just,
I went straight to TikTok. I leapfrogged Facebook.
Makes sense.
Okay, well, somebody who's going straight to Twitter. Yeah.
Very good segue.
Yeah, I'm bringing that kind of business this morning, so just be prepared. Elon Musk yesterday. So let me just catch you up on what's going on here. We're looking at a possible hostile takeover of Twitter by Elon Musk. We've got a couple of business experts that are going to take us through what a hostile takeover is. I've never been so interested in those two words since basically the last 24 hours. I remember hearing that term a lot, and it was connected to Bain Capital and Mitt Romney when he was the 2012 Republican nominee. He was in charge of many takeovers, some hostile when he was at Bain Capital. But basically, Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter. He made a final offer of $54 a share for a total of $43 billion, which, by the way, I think is way overvalued. Twitter lost over $200 million last year. It's not profitable like Meta is and other platforms. So $43 billion. He owns 9% of Twitter right now. But this just in, over the last about 15 hours, we're hearing that a private equity firm, very friendly to Twitter management, is trying to fend off Elon Musk acquiring Twitter to keep Twitter the way it is. Elon Musk yesterday during a TED Talk was asked during the Q&A if he has a plan B. If this private equity company does in fact buy Twitter, does he have a plan B? Take a listen.
If in this case you are not successful in, the board does not accept your offer, you've said you won't go higher, is there a plan B?
There is.
We would like to hear a little bit about plan B.
For another time, I think.
Another time?
Yeah.
All right.
Allison, what's your take?
Well, he's really smart. He's obviously not rich because of not being smart. He's this very, very intelligent businessman. I don't know what plan B can be. I mean, he knows what it's going to be. But look, I think we saw yesterday after he made that announcement, the people on the left were literally melting down, right? They were so upset. And yet some people at Twitter, they're saying this company's private, we want to let everyone have their free speech. But now that he could potentially take over, they're scared that they can't censor people anymore. And that's the big thing, because he just wants people to have free speech. So I don't know. Maybe Mark, maybe Chris knows what plan B will be.
If you're a journalist, Mark, and you're worried about somebody like Elon Musk taking over Twitter, you're not really a journalist. But what do you make of the developments over the last really 48 hours?
I mean, Allison's right. The guy's really smart, obviously, but he's got as much follow through as your son does shooting a 3-point field goal. I just think this is largely a stunt, and he's using it for some method.
But for what? Because this is not. He's not going to benefit. He's not going to benefit financially, at least not in the immediate future, from spending $43 billion on Twitter.
I think the end result of this will raise the stock price, and that'll make him richer right there because he owns a lot of the stock.
Maybe. Chris, do you agree?
I do. I agree with Mark on this. I think this is ultimately a stunt. I think he is making a lot of money with the price of Twitter going up, the stock price the way that it is. And also, too, I read an interesting article in the New York Post where his fellow billionaire, Mark Cuban, is saying that this is really a ploy to, quote unquote, F with the SEC. If you remember, Elon had a little controversy with the SEC when he said that he was going to make Tesla private. This time, he's not saying that he wants to take Tesla private, that he kind of aims to, kind of changing the wordage a little bit. And Mark Cuban thinks he's just messing with the SEC, that he has no real intention to buy the company.
Mark, go ahead.
An enormous number of billionaires are childish. I don't really know how that is, but it seems to be the case. This guy, he just likes to toy with people. He likes to be in the news. He likes to do provocative things.
So yes, but this guy's
he's annoyed
also
with Twitter. I'm annoyed with Twitter too. If I had his money, I would mess with Twitter as well.
Exactly, but maybe he is righteous. Maybe he does have the best intentions in mind. Don't forget, if you become a billionaire, Mark Cuban, with all due respect, great businessman, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, love him on Shark Tank. He is not on Elon Musk's stratosphere. Elon Musk is so wealthy he could buy Mark Cuban over and over and over, and he wouldn't even think about it. So if you are at that level, no, Mark, I'm serious. If you are at that level, you can be eccentric. None of us are anywhere near even thinking about that level. Imagine having $250 billion.
You call it eccentric. I call it childish. Those two billionaires have the same thing in common. They do what they feel like doing in an emotional way. They have the money, they can get away with it. But I don't think this is a serious thing at all.
Let me get back to the righteousness.
It's not a good business move.
Well, that's what I don't think it's a good business move. Twitter stock today is about $45 a share. So $54, the $54 that he's offering as of this morning, market's open in a couple hours. That's a pretty good price. Yesterday, Elon Musk had this to say at that TED Talk. The American people need to trust the town square, wherever that town square is. Take a listen.
My strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization. Twitter has become kind of the de facto town square, it's just really important that people have both the reality and the perception that they're able to speak freely with. So there's no sort of behind the scenes manipulation, either algorithmically or manually.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem with Twitter, right? A lot of people feel that, we've seen it. It's not feel that you'll put content on Twitter and it's taken down, it's shadow banned. I mean, so now there's other alternatives, right? So there's Truth Social, which are where a lot of people went. Newsmax has an account there. That's where you can use free speech. You can put your ideas out. It doesn't get
bizarrely
taken
Fox,
down.
by the way. Fox has made a point to say they are not going to be on Truth Social, on Donald Trump's social media platform. I don't know why. I don't know why you would do that, because these are possible viewers. But Newsmax, of course, I'm on Truth Social, verified. Allison, you're on the wait list.
We're
getting you off that.
I know. Don't you know people?
I told Kash Patel he's involved. Yeah, but there is.
That shows there's
this
a wait
is the soft launch period right now. But let me give you a list and just, then we can move on. But this Elon Musk thing, I think, will develop over the next several days. But I think the fact that Twitter is shaking in their boots. Don't forget, they had a day of rest a week ago Monday for all Twitter employees, so they could process what's going on with Elon Musk's hostile takeover of the company. Here are some names that have been banned from Twitter in the last couple of years: Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Alex Jones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Michael Flynn, the Babylon Bee, which Plan B might be to put the Babylon Bee back on Twitter, by the way, Aubrey Huff, former baseball player, Charlie Kirk. You notice anything about the political views, Chris, of some of the names that I just mentioned? Anything?
They seem to lean a certain way, while Khomeini and Kim Jong-un and Putin are still on the platform.
Okay, so here's where I'm going. I don't care if Roger Stone is on Twitter or not, but he should be allowed to be on Twitter if he wants to be. That's where I'm going with this. And I'm thinking that maybe Elon Musk comes in, takes over the company, and does the right thing and truly makes it a platform for all voices, not just one side. And then the glaring example is the Hunter Biden laptop, of course. The New York Post was kicked off Twitter for 2 weeks before the election. 10% of people, that Real Clear Politics poll said that 10% of people would have changed their vote. I don't know if that swings the election, but it has an impact. Twitter has an impact, even though only 15% of the population is on it. And apparently, Mark Halperin is not active on Facebook. So we've got to change that. We've got to change that, Mark.
But it's so important to be able to have both sides, because that's where the news builds their stories from. So I said this yesterday, but a lot of my clients why should we be on Twitter? Well, because the news will see you. So if you're picked up in the media, you can share that out. So that's why it's so important to be able to have both sides on this platform.
Good points. All right, panel, we'll pick this up top of the hour. Looking forward to that. Let's check in with Alex Kramer. She's out in the news.
Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Alex Kramer. It's now time to get you caught up with some rapid reactions. And you don't need 40 characters to figure out what people are talking about. Well, it's the world's richest man, Elon Musk, and the possibility of his taking full ownership and control of Twitter, and then making it a private company. So, ironically, the tweets are still pouring in fast and furious. Billionaire Mark Cuban is claiming that Musk is, messing with the SEC to drive up the value of his Twitter shares before selling them at a huge profit. Others, they think otherwise, saying this: Elon Musk is the most courageous person in America, not even up for debate. He knows what he's gotten himself into. Unbelievable courage. Now, the Musk madness certainly gets partisan as well, of course. Someone tweeting out this: leftists are afraid that Elon Musk might buy Twitter, so they'd actually have to defend their stupid ideas on a level playing field again. And this, if Elon Musk really wanted the left's heads to explode, he'd add that he's entered into a joint venture with Donald Trump to buy Twitter. And our very own Logan Raddick had this to say. Same people mad about the world's richest man trying to buy Twitter don't seem to have anything to say about the world's second richest man owning the Washington Post. And that man, of course, is Jeff Bezos. Meanwhile, Meghan McCain's reaction went viral as well, and as did Musk's TED Talk yesterday. Well, even the GOAT got in on the act, with Tom Brady going directly to Musk to ask this. If you buy Twitter, can you delete the Combine photo? But since it still isn't deleted, here it is. That Combine photo. Yeah, everyone's seen it. Brady didn't want anyone to see, though, because at one time, yeah, he was just a scrawny 6th-round pick, and now he's the most decorated quarterback of all time. Rob.
All right, Alex, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, it is 6:48 in New York. The Russian invasion of Ukraine now entering a 51st day. The Ukrainian army claiming they destroyed the flagship of the Russian Navy in the Black Sea a day ago, while the Russian Navy claims the ship sank after a munitions explosion on board.
For more, let's welcome back Ukrainian Member of Parliament Kira Rudik. Kira, great to see you this morning. I know earlier in the week, President Biden announced that he's giving an additional $800 million for military assistance to Ukraine. I know you mentioned you need the weapons, you need more. Is that going to help you at all?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Of course, that would help. And so if we want Russian ships like magically to sink of natural causes, as you have seen yesterday,
right?
What a fantastic situation that happened. We will need money, we will need additional weaponry. So now you see how professional our military is and what we can do even with the limited amount of rockets that we do have. So just a quick explanation. This battleship was a flagman ship of the Russian fleet. It was a ship that had at least 12 rocket stations on it, and it was firing them at our southern cities such as Odessa and Mykolaiv. And we hit it with 2 rockets, and it was burning for a day and a half, and then it sank. It's a great victory of our army. We are extremely happy, though today at night there were additional fires at Kiev and Mykolaiv from the Russian side. They're extremely unhappy with what happened, obviously. But again, this is a fantastic example of what we can do if we have enough weapons.
Kira.
We are able to push Russia back. We are able to give them help.
I have to bring this up. So I saw you smiling right as we came to you at the beginning of the segment. It's the first time we've had you on for the last 7 weeks, and I saw you were sort of smiling and laughing. Is that because the way the Russians are trying to position what happened? They're claiming there was some munitions, some random munitions explosion that was strong enough to bring the ship down. Is that what made you laugh, the Russian propaganda?
Yes.
It was nice to see you smile, by the way. It was just nice to see you smile.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy when they are so pathetic that they have to explain it this way. We know that it were our rockets, and we are claiming it.
So that is Russian propaganda.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about something pretty serious, and this report hit the Western media earlier this week, that the Russian army, particularly in cities like Mariupol, are brutalizing and raping young women and even young girls, minors, with the goal of making sure that the goal is to get these women pregnant to try and breed out the Ukrainian population. First of all, can you confirm that? Is that happening? And if so, what do you make of an atrocity, something like that?
So I can confirm this. These are the reports that we have heard from Bucha and Borodyanka, from the victims that we met and that we were talking to there. It was just one of the signs of genocide, what is happening to my country. Look, they did not come here to take our land, or they did not come here to make us slaves or to persuade us with something. Every single action that they are taking right now is done so we would not exist at all. And this is what Russian soldiers are saying. You are the dirt. We are cleaning this land from the dirt. We want to rape your women so you would not be able to bear Ukrainian children. This is the quote.
Kira,
and this is why yesterday we made a statement in Parliament regarding qualification what's happening as genocide, and more leaders of the world, including President Biden, are confirming that this is genocide of Ukrainian nation.
Wow.
Kira, it's absolutely horrible. I just can't even imagine what you are going through and people over there. We appreciate you coming on the show again today and sharing your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Kira.
And,
nice
and
to
keep
see
us
you.
updated. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here's Alex with what to watch for today.
Thanks, Allison. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris will be meeting with the president of Tanzania at the White House. Both